Hey everybody, welcome back to the Contrarians. We have a neat new idea for you. This is kind of like a pilot episode or like a tester episode. So Bret was gracious enough to join me for this. We're gonna go through this journey together, and what Martin and I have discussed about doing a new kind of series. We talked about something along the lines of creating our own best of album from a band, but the spin is that we create our own worst of album. So what's going to happen is I'm going to pick 5 songs for side one of this band's worst of album. Bret's going to pick 5 songs for side two of this band's worst of album. And then at the end, we're going to agree and kind of pick a single, an A side and a B side from the album. And yeah, we'll have a little bit of fun today. So the band that we're doing today is KISS. So we're going to be creating an album together called KISS Lazy Nights, the worst of KISS album. So I'm going to start with my first pick for side one. I think we're going to have mostly different songs, although Bret and I think I think that we're going to have one song in particular that's the same. But so to start the album off, my number one worst of KISS album song for side one is Great Expectations from Destroyer. I picked that song because I find Destroyer, I like Destroyer, I like a lot of the songs on it, but I find Great Expectations is one of the low points for me, and I just kind of feel like it's a little cringy. It's a Gene song, and just something about it kind of rubs me the wrong. That's a skip it song for me. So that's definitely the song to open the album as track number one of the worst of KISS album. So Bret, what's track number one aside two?
Real quick, I was going to pick Great Expectations, so good choice.
My track choice is Burn Bitch Burn by Gene Simmons off of Animalized. His songwriting for the better part of the Non-Makeup Hour was pretty bad, and I attribute that to his lack of commitment to the band. He's synonymous with like tongue-in-cheek sexual innuendo lyrics, and but I think some of the stuff he's responsible for is pretty unforgivable in terms of like the other content that they were putting out in the 1980s. But yeah, this was my choice. This was actually tough because there are a lot of bad Gene songs in the 80s, and I just didn't want it to be all Gene songs. So yeah, Burn Bitch Burn, that is my first choice.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow down the worst Gene 80s songs.
Yeah, and they actually tried to, it was the side B of Thrills in the Night, and to the surprise of nobody, it didn't chart.
Yeah. Okay, so my track number two of side one, and again, I don't necessarily hate all these songs either. I'm just picking them for certain reasons. So I'm picking Tomorrow and Tonight from Love Gun, which is a Paul song, but Paul needs to be on the album. And that song, you know, I can listen to it and I don't hate it, but like it's kind of got like maybe like an annoying kind of chorus, I guess. Almost, it's very like cheesy and simple, and just for a Paul, 70s Paul. I love Paul, and I love 70s Paul and 80s Paul. I love Paul, all KISS Paul. But for a 70s one, that's kind of a clunker for me. To come off of Love Gun, and I've heard Paul, I think, talk about how there's, you know, the highs of Love Gun is enough to pull up the lows of Love Gun. I think Love Gun's got a couple of lows, and I think this is one of them. Then She Kissed Me would be a good one too. But Tomorrow and Tonight is the one that I'm picking. We need Paul on the record. So that's my 70s Paul, Tomorrow and Tonight.
Tomorrow and Tonight was actually one of my honorable mentions.
Okay, good.
So, I'm sorry, not Tomorrow and Tonight. Then She Kissed Me.
Then She Kissed Me, yeah.
Yeah, I do not like that song. Next up for me is a Paul song, You Love Me to Hate You from Hot in the Shade. Was that the song?
No, don't do that.
Okay.
No, go for it. No. I like that song.
I know we've already talked about Hot in the Shade, and I said there were quite a few songs that should have been left out, and this was definitely one of them. For me, it's the high-pitched tone that Paul sings in the chorus. It just comes off, for me, just like nails to a chalkboard. That nasally, whiny pitch that he sings, and it's just too much. Yeah, there were, but this was actually tough because I'm not that, like I said, we talked about this before. I'm not too crazy about that record. So I had to narrow it down to like, maybe there were like 3 songs off this record that I was going to choose. And that was the one I wound up coming down to. was "You Love Me to Hate You." Plus, I think that's the one that they say it just sounds like a ripoff of "Hate Myself for Loving You" by Joan Jett.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying no because that was the same one that I picked. I was saying no because I kind of like that song. But I almost went with, I didn't go with it, but I almost went with My Way from Crazy Nights just because of the keyboards and it's so 80s and dated and stuff like this. But I kind of like it. So it was kind of like, but good pick. So that's your track 2, side 2. My track 3, side 1. You're gonna get mad at me for this one. Odyssey from the Elder. I had to because it's so cheese, man. It's so cheese and it's so like that. There's a lot of stuff on the Elder I appreciate. I actually really like the Gene songs on the Elder, which is interesting, more than the Ace and Paul songs. It's a total backflip for me for the Elder, right?
Yep.
But the Ace sounds like he's sleepwalking when he's singing, and the Paul stuff, like sitting in a sundress and like all that stuff, just it's too much for me. And this song I think is the most too much for me off of the Elder. So I'm going with Odyssey as my track 3, side 1.
That was one of my honorable mentions. I do not like that song. It kind of falls in line with Then She Kissed Me, and like a song like, I don't know if you're going to choose this, but Kissin Time, I am not a fan of when they do covers. It just doesn't work for them. For me, for that really quick, it's a vibe killer early on in the album, but I think it's the original track listing where it actually works better towards the end. It falls in between like Escape from the Island and I, but on the regular version where it's like song 3, it kills it for me.
Awesome. So what's your track 3, side 2?
This may be the one. I finally found my way.
That's it. I think we found our A side to our single.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe that should be the B side because, like Beth, maybe they'll flip it over and play it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I guess if you want, I'll say why I don't like it, and you can say why you chose it. I actually am a fan of the record. I like Psycho Circus. I know you're not too crazy about it, but for me, it just kills the vibe of the entire record. It's a very, very cheesy song. It's obvious that they were trying to go for a new Beth because of the fact that they had Peter and Bob Ezrin write it. But I don't know what else to say about it. The fact the song's really cheesy. It sounds like you'd hear it in like a really bad like commercial or something. I wish I could remember. Listening to it, it reminds me of something, and I for the life of me, I've been trying to remember all day while doing this. And if I do remember it, I'll have to get back to you. But that's why I don't like it. It's a really cheesy Peter song, one of his worst songs. And there are quite a few Peter songs I'm not a fan of, but this is by far his worst. And like I said, for me, it just kills the vibe of the record.
Yeah, I agree. And it's bad enough that they went with, let's give Peter a ballad, but at least give him something with a hook in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind a hooky commercially ballad. Like, I don't mind Beth, actually. I like Beth.
Yeah, I do too.
I finally found my way. Just there's nothing to it, man. Like, there's no hook. There's nothing in it. So to me, It's just it's cheese. It's going for the trying to recapture something that they lost a long time ago, and it's not even hooky. So that's why I don't like it. So, but yeah, good pick. Yeah. Finally found my way. That was my number 4. So why don't we go with, I'll do my number 4 as my number 5, which would be coming off of Dynasty, and that's Gene Simmons' Charisma. So we talked about Dynasty, which is going up very, very soon. Some cool production value. So I think you'll be interested in that. To me, yeah, I think when we were talking about Dynasty, I was talking about how I like all the songs. There's the other Gene song that I don't mind as much. And then Joe reminded me of Charisma, and I was like, oh yeah, Charisma's on there. It's just, it's not good. And I know Martin says like, when you're reviewing, you have to tell people why it's not good, not just, I don't like it. Right. But it's just a weird kind of, I just picture Gene kind of, I don't know.
The rhyming scheme is terrible.
The melody, I guess, is.
He somehow rhymes "what is my" with charisma.
Yeah, it's the melody that it bothers me.
Yeah,
I don't appreciate it.
I love that record, but I would definitely be my least favorite track off Dynasty. That's for sure. So I agree with you on that one.
What's your, maybe you can fill in my number 5 next, but what's your number 4 side too?
Bang Bang You
Nice.
off of Crazy Nights.
You had to go something from Crazy Nights.
Written by Paul and Desmond Child. And I will say this, for all the good that he's done in terms of writing, there's also an equal amount of bad. And this is one of them. This obviously isn't the first time KISS had done a song filled with, double entendres and sexual innuendos. And trust me, there are some ones that I actually really like. This is one of those that just does nothing for me. And I think it's actually a really weak spot on what is probably one of their top 2 best non-makeup records from the 80s. It was either going to be this or My Way, which is what you had mentioned. It's just, My Way's cheesy because it's just I feel like it's too poppy. It's too over the top, if that makes any sense.
It's very dated too.
Very dated, yeah, because of the keyboards, which is weird though, because there are some other songs that have keyboards and it still sounds great, but for some reason that specifically. But yeah, I do not like the song, and I think mostly it comes down to the songwriting for me.
Yeah, I could, if I'm gonna switch up my number 5. Actually, you had already kind of mentioned it, but I had thought about Kissin Time, but I didn't want to put Kissin Time on there because when I was a kid, I loved Kissin Time, and I think there's actually a really cool Ace guitar solo on it. But I could throw it on there. I could throw Kissin Time as my number 5 side 1. So what would your side 2 number 5 be?
You're going to notice there's a common theme with my songs, and I talked about this on one of the last videos we did. Take Me Down Below. There aren't many KISS songs that I will say is like you said, there's not songs that I hate, but there's songs I don't like. This is one of those songs that I would die on the hill of one of the worst KISS songs of all time. And it comes down to the lyrics. Aside from the blatant ripoff of the Journey lyrics right at the beginning of the song, there's absolutely no reason for 2 men in their 60s, which they were at the time. I think Gene was like 62 and Paul was 60, to be singing lyrics like this. It is absolutely terrible. I remember the first time I'd listened to this, I had heard the song and I was face palming the entire 3 minutes. And even when I listen to it now, I laugh because I just can't take it serious. The lyrics are just too over the top for me.
Good pick. Good pick. Another one of my honorable mentions would have been Spit from Unholy. No, Revenge. Sorry. It's called, oh my God, I'm getting old. Spit. Yeah, you don't mean spit to me. It's just like, I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me, that song. And I find Revenge to be a little overrated, but that's just me. That would have been an honorable mention for me.
Okay. Wow. You find that overrated? That's interesting.
Revenge?
Yeah, you said you found Revenge overrated?
A little bit, yeah.
I think I just found the topic for our next funny video.
What's your, do you have any honorable mentions or?
I Odyssey was one of them. Then She Kissed Me and Kissing Time, like I said, because of I'm not a fan of covers, but one of my criterias was whether it was either I didn't like the song or for me it threw the vibe off of the record. And even though I love Revenge, one of my honorable mentions was Every Time I Look at You. It just doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
You have this album where they promoted it as a return to form, and it was KISS is heavy. The whole spiel Gene loves to give. It's our heaviest album since Creatures of the Night, and it is. It's a very heavy record. But then in the middle of it, you have that ballad, which I didn't really feel was necessary, especially when you look at the bigger picture of everything that was going on at the time and how bands were going away from that. I know it's a staple for KISS and especially for Paul, but I feel like if there was one song that could have been taken off that record, it was that one.
Yeah, it's like Forever Part 2, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, and he thought that should have been a huge hit. And I think he said that the record company kind of kiboshed that one. The music video, he's got the little goatee.
It was just so weird. It's weird seeing him with like a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview with a manager from the time the other day, and there was a lot of internal drama about like what songs were going to be singles, and like he wanted like he wanted that one to be it. And they were like, well, they put it out very last because they just didn't think it was going to sell, which they were right. Like I said, you look at the bigger picture of what music was in the 90s, and it just doesn't fit in that whole, it doesn't fit in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, just to go back. So just to recap. So we'll recap and then we'll pick our single. My 5 tracks from side 1 are Great Expectations, Tomorrow and Tonight, Odyssey from The Elder. My number 4 was supposed to be I Finally Found My Way, but it was Charisma from Dynasty. And then my number 5 was Kissin Time from the reissues of the first album. That was my side 1 of Lazy Nights.
Okay. And then my side 2 of Lazy Nights are opened up with Burn Bitch Burn, You Love Me to Hate You, I Finally Found My Way, Bang Bang You, and then Take Me Down Below.
Nice. So what would you say, what should we put as our A side for the single?
Well, we're doing I Finally Found My Way.
Right.
It's the B side, right?
We should put that as the B side. Yeah. Because just for Beth.
Yeah.
But I was going to suggest putting the live version of Tomorrow and Tonight as the B side. But
that could work too.
Yeah, we could do Finally Found My Way A and Tomorrow and Tonight live B.
And that's the Alive 1 version, right?
Tomorrow and Tonight.
Yeah.
Alive 2, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Room Service and Two Timer.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that works.
I'm cool with it.
Cool. I guess that's it for now. Thanks, Bret, for joining me. That was fun. Throw something together, and hopefully this will turn out, and maybe you'll see more of these on the Contrarians soon.
Yeah, I feel like there is a plethora of bands that could be done with this.
Cool. Thanks, Bret. I'm gonna try to throw this up tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. I look forward to it. Thank you for having me as always.
All right, take care.